This video series explains how to deploy Windows 7 from Windows XP using the Windows Automated Installation Kit and Microsoft Deployment Toolkit 2010. My name is Jay Paloma. Rolling out Windows 7 into the Windows XP environment may be a daunting task for a lot of admins. Good thing Microsoft came out with free tools to help us in doing so. One of which is the Windows Automated Installation Kit, or WAIK, and the other is Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, or MDT. WAIK consists of command prompt utilities that allow us more power and flexibility in our deployment options, while MDT gives us automation and consistency. It is best for the deployment techie to learn how to use WAIK before venturing into MDT, which automates the key functions of WAIK. In part 5 of this video series, we will now take a look at how to prepare a WIM file for use in MDT. We will also see how to deploy Windows 7 using MDT on a bare metal machine scenario. This is our MDT server, and we are now in the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit deployment workbench. Our first task is to import a new operating system. This time, our source is the WIM file. I will now import the WIM file. The WIM file we created in part 4 in the deployment share /captures folder. But in this demo, I imported the WIM file we created in part 2 of this series. We select Setup and Sysprep files are not needed. We will be prompted for the destination directory where the OS files will be located. Feel free to customize. Import Operating System Wizard Summary page. Click Next. MDT will now commence the import of the operating system image. This will take some time. After the import has finished, our next action is to create a new task sequence that uses the operating system image we just imported. We now enter the task sequence ID and name and comments. In Template, we select Standard Client Task Sequence. In Select OS, we select the WIM image we just imported. We leave the product key blank in this demo. We enter the full name, organization, and IE homepage as needed. We now specify the local administrator password. This ends the new task sequence wizard. To test the WIM image we imported and the task sequence we created, we will now deploy using the Pixie boot scenario, which is preferred for a bare metal machine or a client replace scenario. In this demo, we prepare a virtual machine to boot from network. Start up the VM and press F12 when prompted. WinPE now loads. The Microsoft Deployment Toolkit deployment wizard starts. We enter the credentials of the account with proper permissions to access the deployment share. We select the task sequence we created earlier. We enter the preferred computer name. We join this machine into the domain. We indicate language and time zone. We don't install Office 2007 since Office is already included in our WIM image. This ends our deployment wizard, and Windows 7 will now install. This video is speeded up in the interest of time. The process took around 30 minutes. We are prompted with a product key because we did not indicate a product key earlier, and the OS is not Windows 7 Enterprise. For demo, we just leave it blank. Setup will continue. Windows 7 is now installed together with Office 2007. You have seen how to use Microsoft Deployment Toolkit 2010 to deploy a WIM image and deploy Windows 7 using Pixie boot method. Two other methods to trigger the deployment wizard would be to use the MDT media or run the deployment wizard directly from the deployment share. Be sure to watch the rest of the videos in this series. This has been Jay Paloma.